Sergio Perez has been under the most intense scrutiny during the 2023 Formula One season. He began the year looking as though he would compete with Max Verstappen in the dominant RB19 for this year's Drivers' World Championship. Yet a persistent string of driver errors meant the Mexican driver was realistically out of the competition before even a third of the season had elapsed. Perez qualifying form dismal. Checo has failed to make final qualifying an astounding 8 times in 17 races and has been beaten in Q3 by his teammate 15-2. This week, a source who claims to be close to Perez's sponsor Scuderia Telmex revealed Red Bull had informed Checo during the Japanese Grand Prix his services would not be retained for 2024. Scuderia Telmex then immediately began to look for another F1 drive for Perez, but found only the Williams sat of Logan Sargent was unconfirmed and there are question marks over Lance Stroll continuing for Aston Martin. McLaren now beating Red Bull. Perez has been competing in Formula One since 2011 and at the recent weekend in Qatar announced the birth of his 4th child. Sergio has repeatedly restated his commitment to Formula One and that if this was in question he would have been at home enjoying life with his growing family. The news, if confirmed, would not be a total surprise given the shock improvement of the McLaren team in recent races. McLaren have now outscored every competitor except Red Bull since the Austrian Grand Prix early in the summer. For Singapore in just 3 races, McLaren have demonstrated they are a real challenge to the dominance of Red Bull given they have collected more points than the world champion team itself. Norris targeted by Red Bull open secret. With Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris scoring heavily each race while Perez is struggling for a single point, the alarm bells have begun to ring in Milton Keynes of what might be in 2024. Alex Albon revealed in Qatar that it was common knowledge amongst the drivers that Red Bull had in recent weeks made the highly rated Lando Norris an offer he couldn't refuse, though the McLaren driver appears to be content where he is for the foreseeable future. Perez's team have jumped to deny the alleged impending retirement or that the organizers of the Mexican Grand Prix are planning to host a party to celebrate their countryman's F1 career. Perez team deny retirement. Luis Alberto Aguirre, who has been part of the Perez entourage since 2018, posted on scores of laughing faces on X in response to the questionable post. Yet something is clearly not right with Sergio, who made a bizarre suggestion when asked what it was he needed from Red Bull next year to mount a proper challenge to his teammate. "I think a more consistent base throughout the season and having a car that doesn't change so much throughout the year," said Perez. Bizarre suggestion from Sergio. Is Checo really suggesting the team do not develop the car as much during the season? That also contributes to being more consistent. "I think that will be the key because that was what happened in the first few races," he added. "I think when we started developing the car, I felt that the car was drifting away from me. I had to keep finding the balance, making compromises here and there. We keep the further details internal to the team. It's something we are all aware of and hopefully next year it can be a different story."